is your favorite day. It's your new favorite day. Welcome to the Joint Operations Podcast. It is Tuesday, October 22nd, right? Close to Halloween.
Yeah.
It's getting there. I am Brady J. Sadler, and with me sometimes is
Adam. This is Adam.
Adam BB. Adam B's.
Don't say my initial. I'm just Adam. I'm not Adam
That's
initial
fine.
Sadler.
I can be the professional one. This is episode 7 of our weekly podcast, and we've made it 7 episodes. That's 7 weeks.
Is it 7?
I think it's 7 because 6 last time was.
We're going
big.
for 10. So once we hit 10,
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
can,
okay.
like, we could forget this week. Oh, we missed a week. Darn it. I'm going to double check that, though, because I'm curious now, but I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, this is 7. Today, we have more Kill Team to discuss because it's all we do with our lives is play Kill Team. I write a book occasionally, and we play Kill Team and play video games. This week, let's do the nondescript banter part of the show. Air our grievances.
My back hurts from painting.
Yeah, we need like a swivel swing thing to paint, like some kind of
There's no position that I can be in for extended periods of time that doesn't hurt my back somehow. So like I could tried standing. I've tried short chairs, tall chairs. It's just
I think that what comes down to is painting miniatures is a young man's game, and I'm aging out of it. I think I feel sore. I paint one miniature at a time now, and I used to be able to paint in batches, but I've been painting my Exaction Squad miniatures, which are the cops in Kill Team. I got them last edition, toward the end of the life of the game. I don't think I've ever even played a game with them yet, though. I don't remember seeing them until you showed me the ones you were painting. So
I wanted to paint them up, and then the new edition was coming up. So I'll just wait. So I decided to get back into painting them. I'm a little over half done. I think I've painted my 6th one today or 7th one today. So almost done with those, and looking forward to those data cards coming out. I was hoping they'd be in this coming week's pre-order, but they just got that news drop today, and unfortunately they're not, but the Phobos Marines are, so I can try those guys out.
I'm just wondering how long it's going to be to put off till the next box is put on pre-order, like Brutal Cunning, because
maybe when all of the old Kill Teams are released, they'll start doing the new stuff. This next wave has a handful of the Kill Teams re-released and the new starter box, which is the Space Marines and Plague Marines with the MDF terrain. I think it's under $100, which is
which means no reason for you not to get it. If you're on the fence, now's the time to hop in, and you can try our mission out. No one's given feedback on our missions, so I don't think play
the game's pretty new.
Get the game, get the starter kit, go play our mission. Tell us what to change, and because we were going to do a mission this week, but we were like, we haven't really.
Well, we've been kind of busy this week. You had to go to Lafayette for a book signing. I've been doing some job search stuff, interviews, which is good, but also I've been painting miniatures a lot, so I'm trying to get those Exaction Squad painted.
Is it Exaction?
Exaction.
That's weird.
Yeah. I thought it was Extraction at first, but
the release of the new expansion for Diablo IV has been pretty distracting too, which I think we'll talk about a little bit more in depth during our video game segment. But yeah, I was, as you said, I was in Lafayette yesterday. It's kind of weird. It's like we're from Lafayette originally. Went to high school there. Spent like 25 years of our lives there until we moved off to work at FFG for a while. But it was kind of weird because I don't do a ton of marketing. I mean, all my social media reach is very limited to whoever's following me. And something's up with people always complain about this on social media when they're doing marketing, like the algorithms or something. It's like an echo chamber in a way where I don't think people see my posts anymore except for the same 4 or 5 people, so my marketing is kind of useless. So I didn't do a ton of marketing for this thing, but I think this particular signing was better than my last 2. I did one in Noblesville, which is my hometown here, and then my new hometown, I guess, my current town, and then Carmel, Indiana. Lafayette had less foot traffic initially, but I saw a few people I knew. I thought I'd see more people from high school because a lot of people still are around Lafayette, but I guess, being on the off chance of them being at a Barnes & Noble on a Saturday, but saw one classmate. It was really cool for her to come out and say hi. Got her kids a book, and I signed. I moved more copies at this signing than my last 2, so it's cool. And I'll be doing my last one on next Sunday here in Indianapolis again.
Last one ever?
Hopefully. No, it's the last one for this like quote unquote book tour because I don't have a publisher, so I have to find my own book signings. But yeah,
if you had a publisher, and you made a lot of money, could I just be like your agent that scheduled those things?
You could do that now, actually. Because
do I get paid for it though?
You could eventually, yes.
Eventually, I could get eventually paid for a lot of things. But
yeah, well, you could either wait and see if I get signed, or you could like help me get signed to a bigger publisher. But I
have helped you. I encourage you to write the book in the first place. So
yeah, that doesn't make any money. Like, it cost me money. That's all it did.
If it does make money,
yeah, I'll make sure to get you in on that. So that was my week. That was my weekend. But we spent this past week. Adam says we're busy, but honestly, we were playing a lot. We played, was it 3 or 4?
I think it was 3 games of the approved ops.
No, we played 2 approved ops, I think.
Okay,
no, was it 3?
We played at least two of the approved ops, which is the PvP standard mission pack. It's a deck of cards that has everything you need to play pitched battles. And we'll do our what we did last week with joint ops. We'll do that today with approved ops, just to give our opinion of it, kind of give you an overview of how it works if you're not familiar with it. And I know this is we were pretty much really interested in the solo co-op stuff in this game, but since we like the game in general, we'll talk about all aspects of it.
Yeah, and also I think they could be planning this because GW hasn't talked about this because they keep mentioning in the products when we do future joint operation stuff, then you'll have more options. I'm wondering, after having played approved ops, how they've structured this deck. It could easily be done for co-op stuff, and it'd be really cool to have thematic co-op pitched battles where you could randomize. That's my dream. As much as I love playing it, I had a lot of fun playing the approved ops, just one-on-one battles, which I used to not like as much because they kind of felt stagnant and they felt samey in a way. But I think they add enough emergent narrative to how they do the objectives and stuff that I think that doing that co-op solo would be probably my ideal structure. So hopefully they do that. If not, we'll have to do it ourselves and figure out some homebrew version, which I don't want to do a pitch for something I haven't tried yet, but there was somebody who did a homebrew approved ops co-op solo thing. I haven't checked it out yet, but his name is Malev.
You sure it wasn't the Spec Ops that he was talking about?
Yeah, well, yeah, sorry, it's the Spec Ops, but it's for the updated edition, so it's a new edition Spec Ops.
Yeah, Spec Ops is the campaign mode,
but it was co-op solo. Yeah, it was.
I know. I'm talking about in the old edition, Spec Ops was the campaign mode.
Yeah, this is a co-op solo version of Spec Ops for the new edition. I need to actually sit down and read through it. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, somebody's at least thinking along the same lines as me. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing this week, playing a lot of Kill Team, playing a lot of Diablo IV. But let's get right into the topic at hand, this approved ops situation.
Right. So with the new edition of Kill Team, if you have the core rule book, you got the core rules in there, all the basic concepts, and then you have 3 very basic mission packs, and you have the PvP, you have the joint ops, which is solo co-op, and you also have the multiplayer operations, which is for 3 to 4 players, big games. But the PvP is pretty straightforward in the core book. But there's a deck of cards called the approved ops. It is sold separately, and it's something they're going to be doing annually with Kill Team as the game evolves and changes. This will be updated every year. But this deck of cards includes some nice large tarot-sized cards that are the same size as the data cards in the game.
Which are a little bigger than tarot, right? I'm not sure the standard tarot size.
I think those are just standard tarot.
They're pretty good size.
But the whole deck of cards has everything you need to play. It's like the mission pack. It's how you play PvP in the game. It does have some fold-out rules and maps. So there's a fold-out rule pack that has a little rule sheet that tells you how to play through a game. There are some fold-out maps that show you the layouts for the different kill zones that are available in the game. There's some reference cards. There are these things called scouting cards, which we'll talk about. Primary op cards, kill op reference, crit ops. Lots of ops in this game, and then tac ops. Tac ops used to be much more robust in the previous edition. In my mind, it was a detriment to the game because it was overwhelming. When you played a game, you had all these tac ops to choose from, and then every faction had their own tac ops, and all these are basically like little side objectives in the game.
Yeah, and they also have their own like interactions with their own setups and stuff like that. The cool thing about this is all those ops you're talking about. For anybody who doesn't know, those are essentially the 3 types of ways you can score victory points. So there's the kill ops, which is the most straightforward. You can just get kills, and there's these ranking systems for how many operatives on the opposing team. Yeah, thresholds. So that's one way to get victory points. Then you have those tac ops, which that's like together you just randomly choose one tac op that's like represents what those objectives are.
Each player does.
Yeah.
And they're also the tac ops are
that's the spec ops or
the crit op.
Crit op is
crit op is the one. Like
that's what I meant to say. Crit op. Yeah.
When you start a game, you pick a crit op, and that's kind of like the general objective that you're trying to do. And then each player also selects a tac op, which these are broken up into categories like recon, seek and destroy, security, infiltration. Those are tied to kill team types, and so every kill team has a couple types associated with them. Like for example, I'm playing the Void Scar Corsair. Or Corsair Void Scar, I always get those backwards. But they're recon and infiltration, so I can look through those categories to pick my tac op.
The cool thing about that too is because you mentioned before, like on the previous edition, when each kill team had their own unique ones, like tied to them in their book. That was cool and all, but it was a lot. I think, but you also at the same time had a choice between those keywords. You had ones that were tied to those keywords.
Yeah, there were general ones as well.
This is a much better way to handle it, where you still feel unique because your kill team is a specific type of kill team, whether it's infiltration, security, whatever it is. So you still have that flavor coming in, but it's a lot less overhead.
Yeah, and to be honest, they pretty much felt the same. Like for example, one of the tac ops from the last edition of the Corsair Void Scar was like if one of your guys died, they dropped like their soul token, and you can go claim that to save them. But it's very similar to like kill confirmation or confirm kill in this new edition, where when you kill a guy they drop a token. So it's very similar. It's just the faction ones were more flavored toward that faction, which you could easily interpret these for any faction. Like they're so general that they make sense for any faction, I think.
Yeah, and they honestly, I think they might reserve those for like I think I would, as a designer, reserve those for joint ops, because if you're playing solo or co-op, like that's easier to handle as opposed to playing a one-on-one where you're managing all these different things. I feel like that's something that's really well reserved to bring out the narrative in a solo co-op game.
It's funny too. I was looking at comparing the old edition just to see how the setup was in the previous edition, and I was looking at it in the PvP battle. What do they call it? Mission pack, and it was like a 15-step setup. It was very involved and very broken down specifically. It's overwhelming for new players. And this new approved ops mission pack, it's 6 steps to set up. So even if they're similar amount of stuff you're doing, it's presented in a way that's a lot less overwhelming.
Yeah, the timing windows are more digestible, essentially.
So we'll just go ahead and break down how you do set up one of these games, because I'm assuming most people listening to this podcast have played Kill Team or know what it is. You know, we've talked about it before, so you kind of get the idea of it's a skirmish game. But in this, in approved ops, you get your card deck out. You can play with just one card deck. Brady and I each have our own. It makes things a lot easier because you have your own things to reference. But there are enough cards in this pack to support 2 players if you only have one deck. To set up the battle, the first thing you're going to do is determine like what the battlefield's going to be. And like I said, there's examples in this card pack of all the different kill zones they offer, plus non-specific. So if you just have a general board that's not specific to their terrain, there's maps in here to help you set up your objectives. So it'll show you the board setup. You can just roll d6 to determine randomly, and then you the map will show you where to put objective tokens and where the deployment zones are.
Now on those, I haven't read too much into this because we just use the one you have most of the terrain. I don't have a ton of terrain on my end. The kill zones, and all I know right now is there's the Gallowdark, which is the dungeon crawly one that I have. I have the terrain for that. But then there's also just like general ones. Yep. But I'm guessing the ones they sell, like the boxed ones, that's what these are all named after, right?
Yes. Like for example, Vulcus is the one. It's in the Hivestorm box, which I'm pretty sure they're going to sell it separately once that launch box goes away. And those battlefields actually have the exact terrain from those kits laid out in a specific way, so it tells you exactly how to set it up, which is nice. The ones that included are Killzone Vulcus, Killzone Galadark, and the Killzone Beta Decima.
Yeah, which one was that? Was that
That's the one with the towers. It was like a water board. Like it was like it was. Imagine like those oil fields in the water, like
rigs,
oil rigs in the water. It's kind of like that feel with hazardous terrain and stuff. I've never played on it before because I didn't buy it. But yeah, those are included there. And again, since they're doing these annually, I'm sure when they do new kill zones, they'll have new layouts available. But either way, there, like I said, there's general non-specific kill zone layouts, so it's got you covered no matter what. And so after you set up your board, you're going to determine what your crit op is, and I think there's 9 of them in this deck. And I'll just give you an example of one of them. Like for example, this one is loot. The objective markers, like you control them, and whenever you perform a loot action, you get victory points. So it's like you're trying to loot these things. There's also like transmission, upload, intel, extraction. But basically, they're going to encourage you to control these objective markers in different ways, different ones depending on what the objective is. And that's how you score victory points through the different ops. So that's one way to get victory points. As Brady mentioned, the other one is kill ops, and so you just get victory points for killing your opponents. And
that's why I always end up going Forge, because it's more straightforward.
So after you set up the objective board, you roll off to who has initiative, and then pick your drop zones based off of that. Then each player secretly selects their operatives, which typically we come to the game with our kill team selected already. You pick your 4 equipment options each, and then you reveal your selection to each other to show you what you have. And then from there you pick your tac ops, and that's what we were talking about, where you pick the specific ones based off of what kill team you have, and you keep these secret. So you pick your tac op, you hide it, and each tac op will tell you when you reveal it. Like for example, if one was the kill confirmation, you would reveal it once you kill an enemy.
I was going to ask about that because this might come into play when you are using 2 decks. Is the intent that you shouldn't be playing the same tech op? Like, as we had that the first game we played, we both had the same. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to pick from the same deck or.
I don't know if it's. I don't think.
I mean, it matters too
since
much,
you're using the same deck, it's pretty much assumed that you wouldn't have the same. Obviously,
that's what I'm wondering, because that's the only stipulation is like when you said if you have your own deck, it's good for reference. But I'm wondering if the intent is for you to use the same deck for that reason.
Yeah, I think the intent is you shouldn't have the same tech ops, but I don't think there's anything breaking.
It did seem like it. We had the same one, and all it is like it adds like additional layers, so it doesn't really interfere with the crit op. It also just like supplements it. So I don't think that it would really matter either way. But it is. I just thought of that randomly because we have been using 2 different decks.
So that was the first 2 steps, was setting up the battle, select your operatives, and then you set up your operatives, which you take turns setting up a third of your operatives and any equipment you might have. So if you have barricades or razor wire, you would set those up as well at this point. And then once everybody's set up, you'll go to the scouting phase. And what scouting is there are 3 scouting cards in this deck. Well, there's 3 scouting cards. Actually, I don't think they include enough for both players to have scouting cards.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there were 6 because I had 2 of the same copy. Oh wait, no, they don't.
Yeah, they do for the primary ops, but the scouting cards they don't. So that's a little strange. But really, you're just picking 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
So these are really just references.
Oh, because they tell you to hold a die, right? Yeah, cover a die.
So when the scouting thing is basically like a way to, it's like a rock paper scissors way to determine initiative. Because there's 3 choices. There's equip, ploy, and reposition. And these have different effects. But they also, one overrides the other for initiative. So if I pick equip and Brady picks ploy, I get initiative, but we were both resolved the effects. So we get a little setup effect as well as initiative.
It's a better way to handle initiative because it gives you a little perk too.
And then after that, that's pretty much all set up. You start playing the battle. In the first
turning point
strategy phase of the first turning point, each player picks what the primary op is going to be. And so it's a little confusing how many ops they have in this game. But the primary op is basically, you have 3 choices. You have crit op, tac op, or kill op. And each player is deciding which one is going to be their primary for the game. They secretly place that face down. It's a card. And then at the end of the game, they get victory points. They get plus half victory points for that op. So like if I had 4 victory points on my kill op, that would give me 2 more victory points.
Yeah, you're just focusing on one of them.
And they also limit, like, you can't have more than 6 victory points for each op. So it's a total of 18 victory points total. And that's pretty much the whole setup of the game.
Yeah, and I think it's a good structure for, like, I think it works great. I think it's like so much less confusing than the last edition, and I've every time we've played, I'm like, let's play again. And it's fun to set up, and this little product, I look at things as a designer all the time. It gives me so many ideas about how I would want to handle like an approved joint ops pack or whatever they would call it, where it's just a pitched battle for co-op or solo, because you can do so much with these objectives, these different types of ops. But also like just doing thematic like narrative things like little mini campaigns or something. There's just
enemy data cards, NPO data cards would be a
huge.
great thing to add to the game. Like that alone would be awesome because even if they released the joint ops as it is with those 3 missions with the NPO data cards, I would buy that.
Yeah,
just because
versions of it. Yeah,
be awesome.
Because that's one thing you don't really have too much of. Because right now, there are objectives, but like they are focused mostly on just taking out the NPOs. There's some that have reinforcements and stuff, but you'd have so many options using that structure for different types of pitched joint ops. So hopefully that's their plan that they're going to be doing. But I mean, they might just do it in a book format, which is fine too. But
one thing that I hope, this is a little tangent, but one thing that I hope they do with the joint ops is give more things to do with the opponent, like the NPO's command points, like have that be a thing in the game, because it's a pretty important aspect of the game, but it's not really used at all in joint ops right now.
It adds a level of complexity, which I understand they might probably want to hold off on, but yeah, hopefully that's the plan, because there's just a lot of untapped design space there, and I mean, like we both said, like we could just play this game that way, the approved ops way, and just play PvPs and be fine. Like the game is fun as it is, but I just think you could explore a lot of cool narrative options and opportunities with the joint ops thing. So hopefully they do that.
The one thing I was reminded with playing this approved ops though is the game plays fast. Like it's pretty deadly. Like your guys will die very fast, especially if you're not careful with them.
Especially mine.
Yeah, I mean if you're playing Brood Brothers, they have 5 up saves. And
before we finish Kill Team, we'll kind of recap the ones we played just to share our thoughts on them. But go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say that one thing I really like about this format is the way the victory points work. Like it's really cool to have a game where they added the kill op to the game, so it's like you're always encouraged to eliminate your opponent, but there's so many different ways to score points, and you can have more control over how you want to score points in the game. Like if you pick a crit op that you're not really that into, you don't have to select that as your primary op. So I'm going to focus on just killing guys, so I'm going to put my primary op on killing. But maybe you picked attack op that's like sweet for your setup. And also the game is just a lot of back and forth. You feel like you're doing really well, and then the next turn, all of a sudden your opponent has 5 more victory points out of nowhere. Like, oh crap, I'm way behind. So it's interesting, very tactical, very fast to resolve. I love that they finally went back to inches. It makes things so much easier.
I'm a big fan of all the tokens too. Like they had, like it's ironic because when we played Kill Team before, I thought it was annoying having those order tokens out constantly, and like the tracking all the stuff. But now it's like I don't even mind those anymore. I think it's cool. But also like all the different effects. Like for example, they add tokens. I was playing the Brood Brothers and I used their new tokens, and the medic has a needler, like a one-time use gun, and there's actually a token to mark that you've used it, so you remind yourself, I can't use that anymore. Or when you heal a guy, you can put a little heal token on him, so you know he can't be healed again this turning point. So
yes, and I love the shape of the tokens. The tokens are shaped. Anything that's marking a model is like in a way where it's round, so you can place it on the base, but it's like a kind of, what do you call it, like a notch?
It's like a fraction, like if
you imagine a circle and chop it up into a bunch of like sections, it's like a section circle, so you can actually make a complete circle of tokens around a guy if he has enough effects, but it keeps it very like video gamey. It's a cool UI feature that in the old edition they were just triangles, and you kind of just had them pointing to guys.
That's probably why I didn't like it, was because of the shape of them, and it's a minor thing, but like I'm a big fan of all the tokens they added, and I love how they come with the minis for each kill team. So it's
I think I was buffing up my leader, and I had like he was injured, but I put the shield on him, like my psyker put a shield on him, then my medic gave him +1 APL, and he had his wound token on him, so it's like he had tons of tokens, but they weren't taking up a bunch of space, and they were just going along his base, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, but I mean, going off of approved ops, you want to talk about like our games, because I wanted to share my thoughts on the 2 kill teams I've played so far with the new edition. Because you've only played the same one both times, which you probably have more experience now with them.
Yeah,
our first game was Aldari and Scouts, right? My scout team.
The Corsair Void Scarred, which I really like them, but they're not my normal play style. I don't usually play like fast, nimble factions, but these guys are very fast. They're not very durable. They're like also less. Both your guys, I think how many guys do your scouts have? Was it?
There were 10 for the scouts, and
so
11
and your
for
brood brothers 11. So mine were 9. So I was always outnumbered, which means I had to be more careful. If I lost a guy, it was a big deal, and I usually lost a guy like my first turn. So my first game against his scouts was brutal. Like I got decimated. I think it was funny after the first turning point, I had like half my guys dead.
Yeah, you kept. I mean, like you said, they're fast and nimble, so you think you're gonna like charge that ahead. But like the scouts they're like beefy, but they're also pretty aggressive as well. They have a lot of like traps that can place to kind of like minimize your movement options. But
didn't you shoot me the rocket launcher on the first turn?
yeah, because you set the terrain up in a way where I could start my rocket launcher guy elevated, so he just had to move behind cover and just fire a rocket at your leader and blew him up. And I had a sniper who was wrecking havoc up there as well. So that game went really well for me, even though I didn't score a lot of victory points based on my choices for the ops. I don't think I got anything for the crit op, but I got a lot of kill ops, so I think I focused on that. So that went pretty well. But then we played again after that, and you played the same team, and I played my brood brothers because I finally got their cards, and
I destroyed those guys.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate how like squishy. Well, I guess just compared to the scouts, because the scouts had like all of them had 10 wounds, and these guys all had 7 each, and they had their saves were all 5+. And I took that patriarch, who's like the big gene stealer, like big guy,
yeah.
And he has like 4 APL, so like his action points were great. He'd activate twice a turn, but I didn't utilize it very well because I just ran straight in and I got swarmed and shot through a wall. But yeah, that game was just, I barely scored any points. And it goes to show you, because I was, even though it wasn't going well for me, I was getting a lot of kills. I took out a lot of your guys, so I was like almost done wiping your guys off the board. But even if I did take your guys out, there's no way I could have caught up victory point wise, because I wasn't doing the objectives or anything. So
yeah, I think that was the one where I was doing the kill confirmation, where every time I would kill one of your guys, they would drop a token, and then I would just basically have to control that token at the end of a round, or at the end of a turning point, and I would get victory points just for like claiming that kill. So they were just tokens all over the board, so I was killing your guys like crazy.
Yeah, and I was going for the thematic tack op for my team, where I was trying to inject you with something. It was like implant was the tack op,
but you couldn't do it on the first turn. Like I ran up with my shade runner on the first turn to
yeah, and I was trying.
He comes up with his demo guy and drops a bomb by the objective, and like, I'm gonna kill this guy. So I run my shade runner up. He's like super fast, and he just slashes this guy in one round and kills him. But then I didn't realize he had an effect that he could like detonate his bomb while he died, and so he just blew me up, and it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, that was fun. What was I gonna say about the implant thing, the tack op? You get more, like when you implant somebody, you get a victory point, which is great. But you get a victory point every time that implanted guy is on the board. But I stupidly implanted you, then just killed you with a crit. So I got the victory point, but I couldn't keep a guy implanted to score victory points. I was just,
you had to keep him alive to score victory.
Well, you don't have to keep him alive, but like I get the more, it's like the more people you implant, as long as you don't, if they don't get killed, you get victory points for them still being implanted. So
I guess you don't want to kill the host, right?
Yeah, that's the whole idea of trying to spread my seed or whatever it is.
That sounds gross.
But yeah, those are really fun. I highly approve of the approved ops. I'm looking forward to playing another one. I just want to get my guys painted, and maybe we'll film it if I have some painted figures to show off.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to do a battle report. I just worry about like the fact that we don't have the best production. We don't have multiple camera angles and stuff, so it's like it's gonna be.
I got a GoPro. I got a iPad. You got like you could if we wanted to.
We don't have experience with it, so it would be a.
Yeah, I mean, I do
be an
plenty
exercise.
I've been doing video editing like almost every day with my drum covers. I was doing I did, by the way, anyone listening who you want a reprieve from gaming for a bit, go watch my back to school drum cover, because my kids are going back to school on Monday, so I was excited because fall breaks over. So
you mean yesterday?
Yeah,
they went back to school yesterday.
Yeah, yes, they went back to school yesterday. So it's fall breaks over, but I had to cover one of my favorite songs of all time by Jude Cole, "Back to School," which you can't find that song anywhere, because it's only available on that movie soundtrack, which is no longer available anywhere, so you can't even hear that song. So like I had to get the YouTube link and make it an MP3, and now it's on my phone. At least I can listen to it now, but I also covered it, put it on the channel. So I do have some video editing capabilities, because I do drum covers all the time, so we might do
I have YouTube Music and it shows up on there. So
does it?
Yeah.
Seriously? It shows.
Yeah. It cycles through my.
But is it
my
is
mix.
it? But is it the video though, or because
I don't know. It just plays the song.
I'm wondering how that works, because the music video is available, but you can't find the actual album anywhere, like on Spotify or Apple Music. That's weird.
Well, it definitely cycles into my.
Oh man, I'm missing out, because I love that song.
I would, if you don't have YouTube Premium, I would recommend it, because YouTube ads.
Are you talking to me or talking to the listeners?
Anybody. Like I never used it, but my wife has it, and I didn't realize that she had it, so she put it into a family plan, so now I can use it. And not only there's no ads on Facebook, or no ads on YouTube, but like YouTube Music is great for the car.
Yeah, so. But let's keep our opinions until YouTube pays us to say that they should. Let's just say that's fine. We don't tell you you should get it until we get paid for it.
I did get paid for it. How do you know? I got a free month for this, right?
By the way, I think I told you a funny anecdote. I was during fall break. I was upstairs working, and Oliver comes in with his iPad because he was watching me play that cover for Back to School. He's like, "Dad," and he's holding his iPad. He's like, "Look, I found your YouTube channel." He has never ever shown any interest in anything we've done. Like we do board games, we do books, we we do a lot of cool creative things. He doesn't care about any of it. But the fact that I'm on YouTube now, he's like, "Dad, you have a YouTube channel," and
he's also getting older, so maybe he's more interested nowadays.
And then he was like, that last episode, anyone who heard episode 6 and Oliver's little Minecraft rant at the end, like halfway through the week last week, he was like, "Dad, am I on Apple Music now?" Because he's like, yeah, I'm famous. I'm on the radio now.
We got sidetracked, but I was going to mention that our games this week. I wanted to try out my other 2 kill teams, my Phobos Marines and my Exaction Squad, which are I think they call them Adeptus Arbites, the police in kill team. I wanted to try them out, but they don't have data cards. I don't have data cards for them yet. And this is just a comment. Like, I'm very appreciative of Games Workshop for having an app for Kill Team. Like, it's awesome when I just want to reference rules, but I just don't want to use it while I'm playing the game.
Seems impossible.
I mean, it would be a lot of flipping through different stuff to swipe and things. It's just, there are so many cards referenced in this game, and I'm sure that once we played like 20 games or something, most of it would be memorized. But I just don't want to play those factions with an app. Like, maybe if I had my iPad, maybe.
Could be. I haven't tried that yet. It could be maybe more doable. Like, I just wish they would make the view. Like, I know they're trying to show off how cool the cards look, which is weird because you can't buy them eventually. So it's like, why show off the product?
Because they already laid them out.
I know, but they could just like list them out, like in a list format or something, and make it easier to like a shorthand.
I mean, I make apps. Like, that was my job before, so like I like apps. And I'm very appreciative of having these free rules, but I need those data cards.
I'm double checking too. I'll have to go compare, but I think those Pathfinders are the same ones I have I think it's the same number of models.
Well, I don't think it's the same models, because those ones I gave you were the old ones.
They look pretty dang similar, but I'll double check. But because they were talking about the Tau Pathfinders that I have some from, what was it, Shadow War? You said
I bought just a regular unit of Pathfinders from 40K before Shadow War Armageddon, back when I played that game, because that had rules for all the 40K armies.
It looked like it had the same little like drone things and the same. Well, I'll double check them. But
Shadow War Armageddon was a cool product. If you weren't familiar with it, it was basically like this stopgap between Kill Team and Necromunda. It uses like this version of the original Necromunda rule set, but it was just this big box of terrain, and it had scouts and orcs, like Space Marine scouts and the orcs, and then this thick rule book that had rules for all the 40K armies, like skirmish teams, in this game. It was awesome. Like, it was such a cool product, and it was just a one and done thing. And then they went on to Necromunda they used that terrain for Necromunda. So
now we have Kill Team though. So, but yeah, that's kind of our Kill Team experience this week. Other tabletop stuff. I haven't really done much. I played some more Fate Forge, the game I spoke about before, which is my wife and daughter seemed to still like. I think it's cool. I just don't like apps, even though it's a good app game. I just don't like using apps.
I'm still looking forward to that Iridia game. That's the next board game I'm looking forward to playing. I did get my Warhammer Quest. I'm not sure I mentioned last time I got the Warhammer Quest Warrior rule books from Little Monk. I got those prints today.
We haven't played them.
I would like to play a campaign now that I got those books.
You never.
Okay.
I don't have the game.
I'm telling you right now. Let's play a Warhammer Quest campaign.
We'll stop there. We're going to play some Warhammer Quest. Tell you how it went.
We're going to turn this into a Warhammer Quest podcast.
I'd play it. I don't love the game, but I'd play it.
It's moving figures and rolling dice.
I know, but it's just the. Well, that's why I want to see what it's like with the newer books, because I'm sure he clarified some stuff maybe, or like
only tweaked some things.
Yeah, so
the game is still super swingy. Like you can go into a room and just die from 3 minotaurs. I don't know, out of nowhere. So it's just the joy of the chaos of a D6 roll.
I just want to see better. I just want to see new Warhammer Fantasy graphics and stuff on it. I just want them to do some stuff with the Warhammer Fantasy IP now that it's back, now that it's alive again.
Speaking of tabletop stuff, I interviewed for a job in the tabletop industry this week. I have a follow-up interview. Actually, I had a follow-up interview on Monday, which right now is tomorrow.
So it went well. Yeah, it went really well.
I wasn't actually planning on going back into tabletop games. This was an interesting opportunity that popped up, and after I probably next episode maybe I'll talk more about it to see how it shook out. But still doing the job search, so hopefully that stops soon, so I can actually start buying products again, because there's lots of things I'm excited about.
Yeah, the other aspect of tabletop that was, speaking of work, applying for a job in there, we still have the Relic Meyers board game prototyping. Richard's been pretty busy with hurricane cleanup stuff, so hopefully things are going well on his end, but he's looking forward to getting back to it soon. And then I'm actually tinkering around with the Malice of Light adventure game. I haven't really got that serious about it, but it's weird because both signings I was at recently, I felt like people were way more interested in the fantasy stuff that I didn't have with me. I just had the Relic books. That's the feature of, that's the release. But everyone saw my banner for Malice of Light, and they were like, "Oh, what's this?" And they were showing some interest in that. I'm like, "This has been out for about a year and a half. Where you been?" No one's been buying it. But so I might do that.
They don't know about it.
Well, I know.
People don't know about it.
It's hard. It's marketing is hard. But so yeah, been tinkering around with some ideas because we played that co-op Talisman after Gen Con, and that gave me some ideas, and it made me really miss Runebound 2nd Edition. I used to love that game. So yeah, I might do a little more work on that and round that out. Let's get that idea out of my head, because I miss playing board games. Haven't been a lot released lately that I've wanted to play, but I maybe have to make some and play some again. But that's our tabletop stuff. But we've been doing some Diablo IV in the video game world.
Yeah, it kind of took a little bit of a pause on Space Marine 2. They just had that update with the new mission,
which is awesome.
Which we did beat that, right?
Yeah,
we failed the first time.
Oh yeah. We almost beat that. I had to figure out that laser thing, because they have to aim a laser at the boss, and I kept missing him.
Yeah, the new mission features a Hierophant.
Ask Oliver. He remembers.
He was giant Tyranid, like monstrous Tyranid thing that you have to kill at the end with these.
The Biotyrant, Hierophant, Biotyrant, or something like that.
Hierophant. I don't know. One of those big, huge monsters, like Godzilla scale,
walking on little tiptoes, on the tip
spikes, little claws.
It was cool though. Like that. It's funny because we haven't laid it out yet, because we still need to test out our ideas. But we were talking about doing like a boss kill team battle thing, and that's funny that they did that. The same week.
I do want to do that, but I feel like I feel like we should do a couple more like regular, just twists on. Objective control missions, because there's still a lot you can do with that system that before we start going crazy and designing like special NPOs and stuff, which I have lots of ideas for, but I gotta admit I'm super curious about what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
Like I want to see, I don't know, like
just official NPO cards would be great. Just like generic ones if they need to.
Yeah, it goes back to my I've just never had a huge desire to playtest my own stuff. Like it's always hard back when we design games all the time. Like playtesting was rough because I just didn't want to play my own stuff. I wanted people to play it and tell me what they thought.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to maintain the fun in something when you're constantly evaluating it.
I like to just consume games.
I thought it was funny that their first update was something we were kind of spitballing for Kill Team. But that new mission on the update's really cool. I really enjoyed it.
I was so disappointed when that game was announced. They had listed this roadmap for their support for the game, and like they had mentions of new enemy types, and I was like, oh sweet man, we can fight orcs, we can fight Eldar, maybe like all this cool, or sorry, Aldari. But no, they're like, no, not new factions, just new little enemy types within those factions. So just more Tyranids and Chaos, Thousand Suns. And that's kind of disappointing because I want to fight other factions in that game.
Is Eldar not a thing anymore? They just change it to Eldar?
It's like, it's Aldari is their new term because they wanted more like IP specific things. It's the same way like in Age of Sigmar, elves are now elves.
Elves. But yeah, that going back to Space Marine 2, the roadmap. I'm looking forward to seeing some new stuff because I mean, it's funny that the live service games get a lot of crap for like a lot of critics will say that they're just trying to design something that devours your life, and it's like I want it to devour it a little more because I'm just waiting for the new stuff to. I mean, it's a fun game. Like we put so many hours in that game already, and I still play more.
I will say that I'm very impressed that we played those 6 missions so many times, and I'm not bored of it. Yeah. But like the new season of Diablo came out, and I wanted to try that out, so I've kind of been pouring hours into that, keeping myself distracted.
The new Diablo 4 stuff's really cool, and it's almost the opposite problem it used to have, where like it suffered from the end game when I first released, and they've been trying to add to that and improve it. And it's funny now, I feel like I haven't had as much time to play this season as I did last season, but every time I log in, I'm just overwhelmed with how much stuff there is to do. There's just like so many little activities, and
they're really fleshing out the end game where they give you different things to focus on depending on what you need. Like, I need to upgrade my glyphs, go do some pits. I need to get some Obdusite so I can do masterworking. Okay, well, you can go do Nightmare Dungeons, or you can go do Infernal Hordes. And then there's also now, if I'm looking for specific gear, I can do the Undercity, the Kuros Undercity.
Which I haven't done that. I haven't done that one much.
I will say, though, we did get a chance to play through the Dark Citadel, which is the new co-op. It's like kind of like a raid, but you only need 4 people. We played with 3 people, and I was overpowered for it with my Spiritborn. But it's really fun. It reminded me of like old school WoW raids where there were these bosses with very specific mechanics that you had to coordinate and work together to do the objectives. It's not just about killing monsters. It's like, you have to open this door, you have to find this key, and the other person has to go and hold this button while you go do this. It's lots of co-op collaboration. Cooperation.
Coordination.
That's what it was. Co-op.
They all kind of mean the same thing, but coordinate all the different. But I think they need to lean more into that because it was really. I mean, a lot of it's based on the architecture of the dungeon. It weirdly reminds me of like the Zelda 4 Swords games where it's all these little puzzles that you do. They're not difficult. It's more just making sure everyone knows what needs to be done.
And there are time too, so it's kind of stressful.
Yeah.
I do hope I suspect that they're going to be adding more of those, but I really hope they do because I'm sure I've heard of all these online streamers and stuff talking about their thoughts on the game, and almost all of them say the same thing. It's like the most fun they've had in Diablo, so I'm sure they're getting lots of good feedback about that. But I really liked it.
Yeah, they just need more classes. Because right now all I see is Spiritborn. Like you and your wife and my wife are all playing Spiritborn, and I'm the only rogue now. So
that's expected when it's a new class, especially when the new class is completely overpowered and broken right now. Yeah. I think they were pulling people are pulling like trillions of damage on these certain builds. It's really nuts right now.
Absurdities.
Yeah.
And then there was something else video game related that I don't think we played it.
Resident Evil Outbreak. It's not out yet.
Yeah,
they haven't remade that yet.
You would not believe how many reactions my comment on that Facebook post got.
Every time I see some post about like Resident Evil 2 remake or something, I'm like, hey, where's Resident Evil Outbreak?
It's crazy to me with the success of Space Marine 2, and then before that, Helldivers 2. Just that, like, I don't know if people look at that and like executives or whatever, and they evaluate that saying, "Oh, I guess sci-fi is popular." It's like, no, it's not. I mean, sci-fi is fine, but it's that structure. It's that multiplayer cooperative PvE third person shooter It's just like with cool, engaging missions you can play over and over again. Like that's what Resident Evil Outbreak could be, on the horror side. And recently, I think we talked about this before, because I was really deeply affected by the cancellation of Project T from Behavior when they closed down that Midwinter Studio or whatever it was called.
Every listener is like, what? Project T? What the hell is that?
But that was going to be my Resident Evil Outbreak style game. It's like a horror based, but I think we're all waiting for a game like that, and Capcom could be just so heroic and come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, oh, by the way, here's this new game we're doing." But yeah, there was something else video game related, but I can't recall what it was. So next time I'll be more prepared for the episode. But
write some notes, and
but we could go on a little tangent about horror movies. 'Cause I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately. I've been reading horror. And
out of curiosity, did we have any listener questions?
Oh, did you check the Discord? Because double check. We'll do that now. Listener questions.
We did the one about Here to Turn Off last time, right?
Yeah.
Calvin in the Discord says, related to Nemesis Nate's question about Terranoth above, are there any updates on the Dragon Bond Quest game? I know there was a business shakeup with the publisher Draco, but hadn't heard that it affected anything.
Man, we should
honestly
check on that, because
I have no idea.
Yeah, there was an interesting situation here where because of our experiences working with publishers and the fact that we were like transitioning a lot of our attention away from tabletop when this happened, we kind of made an effort to just like hand off everything. Like, we hired a developer, like a third party developer, to help us just kind of push it over the edge.
Well, the game was designed, and they wanted to tweak some things, the publisher did, and we said that's fine. I don't know if we have time to do that, but we could definitely hire a developer to like finish that off for you. And they said great, and apparently it went pretty well, and that we just hadn't heard anything since.
Yeah, so the project that was scheduled to go like on Kickstarter before this one, I don't think even went up. So they might be restructuring. I don't know. We don't stay in contact with them, but we'll try to follow up with that, and we'll maybe have an updated answer at some point. But I don't know what the state of it is or what the status of their product plans are. But all we know is it was done.
Yeah, and this was shortly after we left Blacklist and kind of got out of the whole business side of things, and so we just wanted to work on games and not get involved in the business. So,
yeah, like not because like there were some questions about like production stuff, and like we're not going to be involved in our production. Here's the game, we're going to design it and move away. We just wanted to avoid any problems. So we'll check on that. I don't really know where that stands, but
I will just say, if you haven't heard any updates about the game from the publisher directly, then I wouldn't hold your breath about anything happening, because if a publisher is going to release a game, they're going to want to talk about it. So.
Yeah. But is that the only question we had this week?
That's all I saw on there. I have a question though. Like I was thinking about working on a new project just for my portfolio, because since I have my last job, I was working as an app developer. I kind of want to stay in practice and do an app, but I don't really have a need for one myself, or like some kind of a problem I need to solve in the I think public needs or something. So I'm trying to find ideas for an app, but I thought I might do a joint operations podcast app that kind of was a place where we could have all of our missions that we design like available in this app. You can just pull them up and have a PDF viewer in the app to just look at missions, but maybe some other features. I don't know, if like news posts or something, anything interesting that we could do with this app. If there's something that you think would be cool, let us know.
You probably need a shop, and just like a shop of like my books.
Just a book that says buy now.
Yeah, well, it just links them to Amazon.
I bet there's APIs where you could integrate it into like Shopify or whatever, so they could just buy it within the app itself. But anyway, if there's anything that you think would be cool, like for an app that has like custom kill team missions, things like that, just put it in the Discord. We'll chat about it. It might be a cool project, but it might not happen. It's just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, if we get too in depth with the designing missions, and I'll want to do like a whole campaign, that's what the app would be for, is tracking it. But
I was also thinking about like taking other like people from the kill team group on Facebook, just a place where you can centralize all the missions in one place. So not really just for us, but just for the kill team community. Maybe they would like that. The only problem is every time I do like an app that I want to share with people, the first question I get is, "Oh, do you have it for Android?" It's like, no, I'm not going to. I I don't develop for Android, so
send your wish lists and your ideas, because keep Adam busy and build up his portfolio. What have you been reading lately? What kind of books you been reading?
Kill Team,
Joint
Rules.
Ops.
No.
I'm still reading this. I'm almost done with that Drawing of Three, that Stephen King Dark Tower, and then I'm halfway done with that Ronald Malfi book I was reading. Ronald Malfi, the Small Town Horror.
The problem is I usually read, like I used to read all the time when I had too much. I needed something to do. Like if I was, especially when I worked a job that I just needed to sit there, I would also read books all the time. But nowadays, it's like I never have time to myself where I'm just like, oh, what can I do to...
You never have time to yourself?
Well, I mean, I always have things to do. I'm either playing video games or I'm painting miniatures if I'm not working on, like, looking for a job or whatever.
It's about doing those things.
Cleaning the house, cooking.
Yeah, concise windows, like, because...
I guess I just don't desire it. I don't...
You don't have to. Not everyone wants to.
Because if I want, like, stories and so I just watch movies and stuff.
Yeah, well, speaking of watching movies, I forget if I ever... I'm pretty sure I read Misery, the book, Stephen King's Misery. I'm pretty sure I read it because I was going through a bunch of like backlog stuff of I wanted to read of Stephen King's. I want to say that I read it, but now I'm not sure, so I kind of want to read it just in case I didn't. Because I watched Misery last night with Riley, my daughter, and Sarah, my wife, who I think Sarah had seen it before, parts of it, but not all the way through. But Riley forgot. She watched it when she was younger, which probably was she's too young to watch it, but... What a movie! What an awesome movie! And I don't know if you're the same way, but I used to not like James King.
I think it's like his characters that he plays. Probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't like the kind of aura he exuded. But like as an adult, as a middle-aged man now, I'm like, I just love this guy. He's just like he acts like how I want to act. I don't know.
I don't think he's a middle-aged guy anymore.
When that movie came out, he was 45.
You mean 46. You're a middle-aged guy? I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I said as a middle-aged man now. When I was a kid, he kind of scared me, I think. But like now, I'm like, yeah, I like this guy. I like the cut of his jib.
Like a mean dad.
I like the cut of his jib. But yeah,
did you see that Late Night with the Devil is on Hulu? Have
you watched that yet? I wanted to watch it last night, but I ended up.
That's a fun. Like,
did you watch it?
Yeah, I went to the theater with Amelia to watch it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like scary. Like, she was hoping to be scary, but it's just a cool movie. It's just
yeah. I like the aesthetics. I like the 70s, right? 1970s.
Yeah, it's like a 70s. He's like a what do you call late night guy, and he's like competing with Johnny Carson and stuff. And he just wants to do anything to succeed and be famous. And the actor's great. I like that.
He was Polka Dot Man or whatever in Suicide Squad.
Was it
the movie?
Was it?
I don't know if his name was Polka Dot Man or Polka Dot.
Now you got me forgetting what his name was. Cause
David.
No, I'm talking about the character's
name. Yeah. Pretty sure it might have just been like
something Spot or something.
It was Polka Dot, but I don't know if it was Polka Dot Man or Captain Polka Dot.
Didn't he just vomit like polka dots?
It was like he. I forget if he did vomit them, but like they came out of his body, like they grew as like these kind of blisters and
growths on his body. That's gross.
And then like I think he would like just have to expel them out of his body or his hands. He also had like gadgets, I think, that kind of like shot them out of his wrists or something. But yeah, that's watched Misery. That was good. I need to watch that. Late Night with the Devil on Hulu. You didn't say what you watched though, right?
I actually started watching. I'm still watching like Walking Dead. Rewatching Walking Dead because I'm actually gonna be determined to finish the whole series because I think I only watched up to like season 9 or whatever when the Whispers.
Yeah, it was like 9 because they did that's back when they were doing like half seasons.
Yeah, honestly, when Rick left the show, I'm like I lost interest because Rick was the guy I watched the show.
Tell you what though, man. I'm also finishing up I'm almost done with season 11. I'm like 4 episodes away from finishing it.
Is it the last season?
Yeah, 11's the last season, and wow, I did not expect that to be that good. It is a really good season. I'm really enjoying it.
That's kind of why I wanted to rewatch it though, because I wanted to finally finish it, but I also needed to refresh myself on everything that happened because it's been so long since I watched it. So I'm watching that, but I also went back to rewatch that new Frasier reboot, because I was rewatching Frasier because I just had never watched the show all the way through when I was younger. But the reboot was leaving Amazon Prime in 2 weeks or whatever the first season was, so I decided to just plow through that first season, and it's pretty fun. It's a fun show. Kelsey Grammer still got it.
I've never gone back and rewatched Frasier. I should probably do that.
I really liked it. It's a good early 2000s, not late 90s, early 2000s sitcom. And just for Niles alone, Niles was great character.
Speaking of Walking Dead, though, I forgot to mention, I don't know if I told you, but I got the updated Mantic Walking Dead All Out War like anthology thing, which I'm not exactly sure because I had one. It's like a collection of all the rule books, like compiled, but this is a new version, so I forget why I ordered it, unless they made a lot of changes. But I need to dive into that and see what's in there because I've been craving some zombie. I mean, I still have to play that campaign of County Road Z, but I love me some Walking Dead All Out War. What a great game.
Games take a lot of time. A lot of time to play. So
cool. Well, that's kind of what we got going on this week. So we will be back next week with hopefully some cool Kill Team news that Brutal and Cunning is on pre-order on Saturday. The next Saturday.
I don't think that's very exciting news. I mean, well, it might be exciting, but I don't think
it's almost November. You told me November. I'm going to hold you to it. But yeah, thanks for checking us out again. And make sure you go onto Amazon, search for Brady J. Sadler, and buy all those books, especially Relic, Meyers, and Rhythms of Ruin. It's really cool. Rhythms of Ruin.
I don't have anything to sell you, so
yeah. I'm not selling you. You're selling it. There's something there. You can work that out yourself.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, see ya.